we're at the alpha phase, so in some ways, like a room full of developers, all of whom have a smartphone in their pocket, and some of you have two or three, is exactly the group of people that I want to be talking to right now. 6 months from now, it should be more mainstream, and what I would hope to be is coming back a year from now and pitching you on our API when we've got one available, and then you'll be the right audience again. But right now, it's having a room full of people who know what it means that it's an alpha is hugely helpful for us. So please download it if you haven't already.
For me, this kind of events is obviously recruiting, and we are hiring, so just come and see me.
James.
Yeah, I actually, if I can get away with two questions, I have one. Well,
Are they human questions or are they dog questions?
Mark, one. So I sort of have an idea of what your business model is and what I think it is. Do you do a lot of sales to try to get clients, or are you finding most clients come to you?
Most clients come to me. I'm even surprised at myself at times. And I think it's, so I started, I basically every 3 years I incubate a new company. I have a new company that's, I'm starting now. It's Foursquare for travel. So it's beta.daytrippy.com. So if you guys want to sign up.
Daytrippy?
Daytrippy.com.
DAYTRIP.
PY. Two P's
Trippy.
and a Y. Daytrippy.com.
Daytrippy.com.
And so we just started the beta program, and so anyway, so I incubate companies and stuff. But so the thing is, this is like my fourth company I started. So since 2003, I've been getting around, meeting people and stuff, and it seems all of a sudden it started paying off in the last couple of years. So I think the networking is huge. And then it's also fun too, because you get to see people you haven't seen in a long while. Rick started his own new company, and I got to see him, and so on.
Yeah, that's right. Rick, before we forget, tell us about your new company you just launched.
It's called Urgently without an E. So go to urgnt.ly, and it's a Droid and an iPhone app as well as a website. And we connect people that have an urgent or top-of-mind need to the nearest party to fix it. So think you're at home, your pipe breaks, you put in plumber, we connect you to a plumber that may have fixed something in your neighborhood or may only be a couple tenths of a mile away. So it's all about time and proximity.
Very cool. Well, let's have you come back and present on that at one of the next meetups. Duncan.
I don't have so much as a question as a comment to feed conversation, specifically for you, Jamie. It strikes me that your application, the trick for you is critical mass. You need lots and lots of people using your apps so that you get collections of them that they're drawn to, so that your advertisers, your bars or concerts or whatever want to. And it sounds like your initial launch was organic, let's let it go and see what happens, and there wasn't enough critical mass.
So it's very perceptive, actually. The last app was 100% a critical mass play, and the reason we did it on college campuses was we didn't want to boil the ocean. We thought it would be a lot easier to get critical mass on a smaller scale, and you could pop a campus and pop another campus and grow that way. And they're calling that the color problem now in the industry of they got like 5 million downloads their first day, and they never got to critical mass because they were all over the world, right? We have essentially concluded that we are not going to solve that problem. That problem is not going to be solved for 10 years. You're not going to see the color problem get solved until somebody gets huge, and Facebook will probably solve it if they're still around and dominating. So this version of Sponto is designed to be useful even if nobody else is on it. If you're the first user to download it in Michigan, you can still have an amazing experience with Sponto and have your life magically changed, and then it'll get even better when your friends get on.
Because the sponsors and content providers are...
Because we're getting 120,000 events from the internet all the time, and then when the Facebook events happen and we get the other APIs on, then we're going to have to start filtering it for people. But essentially, everywhere in DC, there's always something going on that you can discover with Sponto right now.
I bring that up because it's a classic problem that a lot of different specifically mobile app developers have, if you're doing a social crowdsourced sort of thing, you gotta have critical mass. Like the Urgently application is gonna faces the same issue potentially. You need enough participants in order for it to grab
Well,
customers.
here's my observation, and it's very, very relevant to what we're doing especially. So Facebook, you'll notice you can interact with people. If you're in a different place and you're in a different time, it's great. It's asynchronous on both dimensions.
Right.
There's never in the history of the internet actually been any platform that's successful that requires people to be at the same time at the same place. Foursquare, essentially, you need to be at the same place, but if you're there 2 weeks later, you can still interact with those people, right? So it actually becomes exponentially harder to get to critical mass if you have to be synchronous in time and space. So Rick, that's what I wanted to tell you when we were talking earlier today, and I said, there's something I've got to talk to you about. I had this realization. You should only address one, and if you can eliminate both, you should do that
On
first.
the other hand, your product is solving that problem for people who want to be in the same place and time, letting people meet other people, like-minded people.
So we've tried to do breadcrumbs. Essentially, okay, here's a single version here's a single version one. Here's a self-service user-generated content one. Oh wow, people are in the same time at the same place. Boy, I met Keith tonight through the platform. That is something that's never been possible before.
Over here.
You have to hire a sales force to go out and get venues and restaurants and stuff to sign up for your service to run,
Our plan is to do that through an API approach as well. I'm a big fan of RESTful APIs.
Scraping.
Preferably they publish an API would be better, but yeah.
Back of the room, back there.
Yeah, I'm curious to know, because it's interesting, we've heard nothing about Google Plus tonight. So do you guys think that's a viable platform at this point, or so what are your thoughts about Google Plus in the future?
Haven't they changed the name to Google Minus? Sorry. Google Plus. Question. Anybody thinking about it at all?
It will be relevant for gaming platforms. A lot of these social gaming on mobile in particular, they look at Google Plus as a distribution platform, no different. Because I think one issue with Facebook, and this is if you talk to some kind of old timer Facebook people, and they will tell you that the noise level is way too high. You look at your Facebook. I don't know how many friends we average in this room, but there's some popular people have 3,000 friends. Like how many of those that you actually know, potentially? So the noise level on Facebook is now getting so high, which in terms of social gaming experience, which you tend to play and invite people that you want to play with. Those are naturally gravitating toward Google Plus type of a newer. Social graphs, which we believe actually the phone address book is actually the best one. The phone address book is already on the phone, which you're trying to do something with. So why go somewhere else and log into another platform when you have the social graph readily available on your phone?
So I've been hacking Google Plus lately, and I had given up on it, left it alone, and then ended up coming back to it like circuitously, which was I went to Clout one day, and there was a woman that they said influenced me, and I'd never heard of her. So I clicked on her profile, and she was 100% Google Plus. And I went on to Google Plus, and she's a Google Plus maven. So she's like one of the Google Plus gods. And it turns out there's this whole world of people who spend their whole day on Google Plus all the time. It's like the internet used to be before the web. I mean, they're there and they're talking to each other and they all know each other and they're hanging out with each other. And so the interesting part is that Google Plus does not at all solve the problem that they marketed on, which was this tightly channeled thing where you filtered who you're talking to. No, that's not what it's used for. It's used for broadcast, blah 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 blah. It may kill WordPress and it may kill Posterous. It's an incredibly powerful blogging platform. Oh, and Google cheats and makes that stuff higher in the ranking. I wouldn't count them out. They're going to be very, very important to the search optimization world. Very.
Well, in the App Store, I'd say the Google App Store is pretty dang cool. If anybody has Google Chrome and checked out the App Store, it's pretty interesting what they're doing. We have back here. You've had your hand up for a while. Go ahead.
Not too far from releasing my first app and not having seen the analytic tools on Android or iOS. We saw Flurry on here. Do you pretty much have to, is it best to rely on the analytic tools that are built into Android and iOS, or should you kind of tie into Google Analytics or Flurry or something else to best say, okay, where's my net, Android may say 5,000 people downloaded the app, but how many people still have it on their system?
Are you doing native or are you doing HTML5?